What's going on, boys? It's Flaws, and in this video we're going to be talking about how to master movement. We're going to start with some pretty basic beginner stuff, and then we're going to move to more and more advanced and advanced level techniques. So starting off with beginner stuff, I mean everyone should know this that's watching this video, but I'm going to just talk about it anyway. If you're running and gunning in counter-strike, you need to like adjust that immediately and like not do that. If you kind of need like help transitioning from not being the person who's like running and gunning and just kind of like hoping that you get a headshot, what you can do is just start to like incorporate crouches into your peaks. You can do this for like advanced games too, but you'll see like when people are peeking into angles in like higher level games, they're using their crouch to still like control their spray, but you can still move with it, right? So it's not perfect, it's not like directly where my crosshair is, but if I'm putting some spam out into someone who's like red room, or if I think someone's gonna be playing in donut, I can peek out and just like move while I'm spamming into it, right? It's a great way to just like stay accurate but also move. Not only is this like a really good way to like kind of like get into a site, but it's also a good way to like kind of retreat back. So if I see someone like push into this corner, maybe I get smoked out a little bit deeper, like here, and I see like a quick glimpse of them, I can spam this while I'm like falling back, and like that's putting a lot of pressure on that person. I am getting some spam down. It's a really good chance that I like get some damage taken away from them. It's way better than if I like saw them run into that corner and I'm like this, like I'm backing out shooting like this, right? Like that does nothing for anyone. There's no chance that I'm really gonna like hit them effectively. And I just think that like crouching while you're like moving, whether it be like into a corner or if you're like kind of falling back out of a corner, it's a really good way to just like keep pressure on the person that you're fighting. Next we're gonna talk about strafing. So there's two types of strafing. There's strafing in the air, where it's like you gain speed as you're jumping and moving. The way to do this is if you're holding forward and you jump, you need to let go of whatever your forward key is. In most cases, it's going to be W. So W, you jump, let go of W. And then whichever way you move your mouse, you're going to hold that key. So if I'm moving to the left, I'm going to hold A. If I'm moving my mouse to the right, I'm going to hold D, like this. You see I jump and I move in that direction. Same thing going backwards. It's a little bit different, but whichever direction you want to go in, you're going to move that key. So like if I'm moving to the right, I'm gonna hold that right key like this. You'll see it as I'm jumping backwards though, my mouse is moving to the left, but don't worry about that too much unless like you're like in those higher level games, which in that case it's like, let's say you're in this position right here and you're like trying to creep up into CT, but you get like full blinded and think someone's gonna peek you. I mean, I can do this like eyes closed hopefully, but yeah, you jump around the corner like that and you're basically back to safety. That's like the best use for it. It's not going to be like every single round where you're like, yeah, like let's entry in the site, here we go. Like that's not really what it's for. It's more for if you get caught out in a situation. It's like a easy way to get back into safety, which is pretty common. But we're going to focus more on like actually strafing and getting movement from it, and like hopefully getting to like new angles and rotating quicker. Now that we're talking about like rotation though, let's talk about how to silently rotate. That's like another pretty big movement mechanic. If I'm like right here, let's say it's like a 2v2 and there's someone in cave, I want to drop to mid and I don't want to make any noise. Like the only way to do that is to crouch, and then as you're dropping, let go. Instead of just like being the person who's rotating, you make that noise, then they know, oh, okay, I hear one mid. Then this guy knows, okay, I can like peek out at any time, maybe get a free kill on this person. Instead, if you were just like here, you crouch. As I'm dropping, I let go of that crouch key. Same thing here. And it's completely silent, right? That way I'm making no noise. No one in my vicinity is like fully like sure where my position is. And it's a great way just to like rotate without making any noise. There are some spots on maps where like you can't silently drop. Like if it's here, it still makes noise because it's too far of a drop. But there's a lot of maps where like a little bit of like a sound cue from like a small drop can give you away and kind of just like ruin the round for your team. Next thing we're going to talk about is jiggle peeking. So like go to a new part of the map, change up the scenery a little bit. Let's say I'm at B right here. I know that one's CT. I can jiggle this area and just kind of like quickly like get some info for my team. I can even do this with like a flash. If I like see someone like here, I have someone set up maybe at this wall right here. I see someone, I throw a flash for them and they peek with that, right? I can also do it lower so like a little bit better flash. But something like that, right? But just jiggling and getting that info, you're not really risking too much in the round. You can also do it like, actually you'll probably use it a little bit more for this, but if someone's has the bomb planted here. It's like a 1v1, right? Let's say, or 1v2, and I'm in like a tough situation. I can jiggle this angle, like put a little bit of spam through. I don't have to like commit to a fight. And a lot of the times the CTs will react to that, right? Maybe they're turned around like this and you start to shoot and they need to like immediately flip back around and it's really awkward for them. Or like maybe even they're like turned looking towards you. They're tapping the bomb. They see you like jiggle a little bit. They start shooting. Okay, you know they're off the bomb. 1, 2, 3 seconds. Do it again. Nothing shooting back. Okay, wait, and we need to commit to a fight, right? Like that's the difference between like jiggling and like wide peeking. Which what I like to do is I'll jiggle a couple times. Like if they're here, they like see you jiggle a few times. You might notice their like crosshair starts to shift towards that wall a little bit more. And then once you like think that that's happening, which it will most of the time, you can just like wide swing on them, and they have to like adjust their crosshair. It's really awkward on this one, especially because it's like a hill, so that they need to like adjust upwards. Which is what I was talking about earlier with like the crouching. Like if I'm peeking a corner, like let's go to A. If I'm peeking a corner, right? And my head's at the exact same level as I'm like entering into the site like this, right? Like anyone that's playing an angle back here only has to track my head this way, right? And then instead of like, if I'm peeking an angle like this, okay, I'm peeking this, and I crouch into that angle. The moment that they see me and I crouch, their crosshair is not going to be in a good spot. They have to readjust. They have to adjust their spam if they don't hit that first headshot. And to actually like, it's a lot harder for them to hit that shot than it is for them to just like track my head across and like one tap me, right? Like it's a lot harder to just hold an angle like this. You see someone like peek out and then they crouch. I have to like adjust my spam down instead of just holding that like that one angle. Like this, I'll peek out, then I'll crouch into like that last angle. What I'll notice too is in lower level games, people like entry with just holding the W key, and it looks really janky. It's not effective at all. It's actually like horrible because not only are you not able to shoot right away unless you counter strafe, like, but you'll see in like pro level games they'll be moving mainly with their A and D keys or left and right keys, and their W key as well. But mainly if they're going to be peeking into an angle, they're holding like their left and right movement keys. So if I'm entering the site, like you can just tell the difference, right? If I'm someone who's like a higher level player and I'm like clearing this angle, okay, next angle, okay, next angle, next angle, next angle, next angle. I'm moving up, okay, still looks clear. I'm essentially only using my A and D keys, except for like when I cleared every single angle out that someone could be looking at me, then I'm moving up. But even here, right, I get to donut, okay, I'm moving with my A key, and then I'm just, at every single point, you can see I'm like counter-strafing and like tapping that key just to make sure that if I do see someone, I'm already ready to go. My crosser's on their head and I have like a perfect first bullet accuracy. But keep that in mind if you guys are like entering and having trouble with it. On top of that, if you're the entry and you're someone who's like holding that W key, blocking your teammates, if you like get to this wall and you're like, oh, I see someone, you start shooting, no one behind you can like really shoot at that person with you. Like, what's better is like you clear this angle out, okay. There could be like 2 or 3 spots that I need to clear here. I'm peeking and crouching at the same time because not only if I have like an opera, are they going to peek behind me? And if I get shot in the head, like that's your fault, honestly. Like the operator should be taking that shot if they see anyone on the site. If I'm peeking and I'm not crouching, they can't really like shoot above my head. If I'm crouched down, there's no chance that the operator peeking behind me is going to like shoot me in the back of the head unless they like have some weird movement thing, but a good opera is never going to do that to you, right? So if you're peeking into an angle and you don't see anyone, then you can stand back up, right? But if I'm peeking in, I see someone, okay, now I'm spamming. Once they're dead, I stand back up and move in. That's like a really weird mechanic that people don't talk about in like any videos, but it is like essential if you're first entry. There's a couple different ways to be first entry though, I will admit. Like there's that way where you're methodically like clearing out every single angle. And then there's like the burst first entry where it's like, just get as much sight control as possible, which in that case, it doesn't even matter if you're like dying first. Like if you think someone's opping like an angle close, like here, what I'll do is I'll even jump the corner with my knife out, right? Because they're probably not holding an angle where like I can even like actually trade them back if they do get the kill. But I'm just putting so much pressure on them. Like I'm going through here. Okay, they shot me in the leg. I'm already like in their face. Even if they do like somehow like end up getting a next bullet off and reloading, or like in that next bullet in the chamber and shooting me, my teammates should already be like wrapped onto the site. Like that's a huge movement mistake that people make when they're entering. Same thing over at A, like you'll see that I ran up on this right side. I mean, that's my preferred way of entering, just because you get like to the back of site and you get this controlled as quickly as possible. Instead of like people that like to just kind of entry through here, they clear out this. All right, yeah, that's clear. Here we go, we clear this out. Like while I'm doing this, there's so much time that people can be rotating through donut, they can be rotating through CT. So you just kind of like want to get to the back of site if your first entry is quick as possible, and kind of shut down the whole retake coming back into it. Let me try to think of what else. Jiggle peeking, like essentially what that is if I'm expecting like someone to be holding an angle, I can like shoot a couple shots off. I can even like jump with my knife out and just get like a quick pixel spot of like if anyone's playing that angle. If no one's there, like that's a lot of info for your team. If it's an opper and they do end up shooting, you can like peek out and like not be too worried about them shooting another shot off for like a second, which is huge. It's a really good way to like kind of get past those tight chokeholds that are like big op angles. I'm trying to think of anything else. No, oh, this is a big movement mistake actually. If you are holding an angle, if you're close to the wall, there's no reason to crouch, right? If I'm holding this angle, and like let's go on CT side, it's a little bit better. Let's say I'm holding from here. I'm holding like this and I'm crouched down. It doesn't really make sense for me to like hold like this, because even if I get like a kill or two, I have to like either crouch and move back to like not expose myself and kind of get to safety, or I stand up after I get a kill and then move back. But as I stand up, as you can see, I'm still exposed the entire time. Same thing on the like this cave position. I'm holding this, right? I'm crouched down. Yeah, like it's hard for them to get that first shot off. And it's actually like, good if you're like in a 1v1 or something where it's like you only expect one person to turn the corner. But if I'm expecting like a full push, it's better to be standing up, right? I get that first kill, I can very quickly like decide when I want to like take the next engagement. Instead of if I'm like here, I almost have to like commit to this fight, which might not be the worst thing, but kind of you're limiting your options of like how you actually want to take every single engagement. So keep that in mind. If you're out in the open though like this and you're like playing a weird off angle, like maybe I somehow got to this position and I'm holding from here, I don't find it bad to be like crouched down, playing like a weird off angle. You can get like one kill and then like the next person you can stand up for and get that next kill if you're trying to like find map control, right? Like that's a really weird thing for someone to do. If someone's holding it, like they're probably holding it head height. But yeah, I think just kind of like really think about your movement. If you guys are having trouble with like counter-strafing, just practice it in your game. Like, be like, okay, I'm gonna pre-aim here, counter-strafe. Yeah, like that's not the best. Okay, let me work out on it here. Okay, with donut, peek. Oh, okay, that was a little better. And just, you'll slowly get better at like not even thinking about your movement and like where you're peeking into. You'll just start like doing it over time. But I hope this video helped you guys. If you guys have any other questions on movement or movement mistakes, let me know in the comments down below. But hopefully I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.